I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, February the 6th, brought to you in part by VitaFirm. Profitability against all odds. VitaFirm is a line of nutritional supplements for beef cattle that maximize energy and forage utilization for successful production. For more information, go to vitafirm.com. Also, Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma, another big sale for them, expecting around 5,000 head of cattle. Be a big run, including the cows and calves and yearlings. They've got about 2,000 calves, most of them weighing from 400 to 600 pounds, almost all of them weaned, and they tell me that a lot of those cattle be hard as rocks, long time weaned, just need a home to go to. If you happen to have some wheat left, if you've got some silage, you've got some hay left over, you got something to feed these calves, tell you what, that'd be a good investment. And then 2,500 to 2,800 yearlings. Talked to Lane Conkle there. He said they'd have 20 straight loads of 7 to 9 weight steers. Most of them be coming off wheat, and I asked him whether they was going to be juicy or on a thinner side, and he said there's a mixture in there. He said some of them coming off pretty rank wheat, looking a little juicy, some of them off short wheat, and after that cold spurt, looking pretty thin. So you just have to take a look at them, guys. They're going to have 14 loads, straight loads of heifers weighing from 6 to 7, 7.5. Be a lot of nice heifers. And including in the heifer run, 1 load of IMI Global, third-party verified, be all natural NHTC heifers, guys, if you're looking for something like that. But be a lot of grazing yearlings in the yearling run if you're looking for that. A lot of people are already buying grass cattle, and they're not just buying calves, they're buying yearlings. But Lane also told me they'll have 400 to 500 head of cows. Most of them just be typical run of odd bred cows and mostly slaughter cows there, but he did have 40 head of red cows, be moderate framed 4 to 7 year old red cows in their third stage if you're looking for something like that. Record run in Joplin, a huge run, the biggest run they've ever had for a one-day sale at Joplin Regional Stockyards there in Carthage, Missouri. They had 15,700 head through the ring, then another 600 or 700 head there on the in-house video they do with help from DVAuction, guys. And I tell you what, they do not mess around in Joplin. I've told you that many times. They started that sale at 4 o'clock in the morning, and they ran it until 9:30 and got through nearly 16,000 of them through the ring. And that's 17 and a half hours, about 900 per hour we're going through that ring, and that is moving on, guys. But who has the biggest sale they've ever had in history whenever we got the lowest inventory report in 75 years? It's a growing market. They're bigger every day than they were the day before. And I tell you what, Jackie Moore and his boys there and the whole gang, the whole family, Mark Harmon, Chris Byerly, everybody that works in there and around that sale, they do such a good job. And they're just, that's what they think about all the time. That market is just a going Jenny now. And you got to watch Jackie Moore's videos that he puts out there with help from his son-in-law and some of them. But it's a good video. It's kind of like this. It's a YouTube video from Joplin Regional Stockyards. If you watch the one, the latest one that's out, he is war absolutely slick. He and Russell Sleep, another friend of mine that auctioneers there, they crawled in that block at 4 o'clock in the morning and stayed in there until they got done. Bailey, that normally sells, he's kind of under the weather, or really under the weather, and he wasn't able to be there until he gets straightened out. But tell you what, Joplin's been a long time DVAuction broadcaster. They were one of the guinea pigs when we first started thinking about doing video or sales auctions in a sale barn and broadcast them on the internet. Way back in 1999, when that newfangled internet was just a new thing. But they were one of the guinea pigs. They've been with us forever, and we treasure them as customers. They advertise with us here. They do their videos with us here on Primetime Livestock Video. But huge sale, and congratulations to them for hitting a new record and raising the bar there on themselves. But like I said earlier, these buyers are aggressive now. They know these cattle are progressively running thin, running short here. So buyers are already buying their grass cattle, and you typically see that in January and February, buying 4-weight grass cattle. Then they'll take them out close to the Flint Hills or places like that, maybe the Osage, and just kind of hold them together until it's time to turn those cattle out. But this year, we're noticeably seeing them buying bigger cattle, buying 6- and 7-weight cattle. They're going to hold them together for a few months here. They're going to gain some weight and then turn them out heavy because we're so short on supplies of cattle. These packers are going to be scrambling. We're already hearing the packers are going to be running short of cattle come late this spring. Don't know where their cattle are going to come from. And it's just going to get progressively worse because we haven't seen, as of yet, anybody buying many or keeping many replacement heifers back, or anybody buying heifers and keeping them as replacements. I have noticed that last fall, whenever the market started to kind of turn down there, and we were a little bit uneasy because things weren't continuing to go up like we thought they were. I did notice up in Nebraska and South Dakota and the northern plains where they have those best cattle, that we started seeing fewer heifers being sold. But when the market bounced back right after the holidays there in the new year, then we saw more heifers coming than the steers. So those keeping heifers that guys had put together, the real fancy one, they couldn't resist to sell them in the market, in the higher market. And we're going to continue to see pretty decent auction receipts, because as this market just keeps gaining and gaining and gaining, we're just going to sell them to each other, people. You put some cattle together, you look up after a few weeks there, maybe 6 weeks or a couple of months, and you think, God, these things are going to make so much money. Let's go ahead and sell them now. And so you do that, and then there's always people there to buy those. So we're going to keep, increasing our auction receipts on the same cattle, not necessarily trading cattle, but just cattle that are being backgrounded by several different entities here. And it could throw our inventory people at National Ag Statistics off a little bit. So just keep your mind to that. We are welcoming a new barn here on Tuesday for our family of broadcasted auction markets, guys. It's Fairview Livestock Commission in Fairview, Oklahoma. And you think, well, their sales are on Friday. Their sales have always been on Friday, and they're going to have a sale this Friday, but then after that, they're moving their sale to Tuesdays. But this Tuesday, here today, they're having a bred cow special. It's in the evening, starting around 5 o'clock p.m., and it'll be the first time that they're broadcast on DVAuction. Tune in there and view that sale on Fairview. Check it out. That sale's got a rich history there in western Oklahoma, and we're glad to have them. We welcome Fairview Livestock Commission to our family of broadcast barns. Also want to talk to you about Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Now this medicine center, and they're kind of focusing on some of you farmers and ranchers. A lot of times you guys have bum knees, bum ankles, bum hips, wrists, elbows, things like that you've hurt working, doing your everyday activities. You don't want to be shut down. You don't want to have a surgery on them or a replacement or something like that. But Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center, they do stem cell treatment on those. And then you're thinking like I did, and you're thinking the same thing I did. Oh, I'm not messing with fetuses or afterbirth stem cells or anything. No, it's nothing like that. It's your own stem cells. They pull stem cells from your body in a fatted area or somewhere that's not pertinent to you, and then they treat those, and they put those stem cells back in, and it's 85% effective right there, guys. and it's owned by the company is owned by a cattleman, and it's really helped a lot of people that I know. And you need to check into it. If you got something that's been nagging on you, it won't shut you down. You'll be right back to work and feeling better in no time with Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Go to kansasrmc.com for more information. Let's talk about your board. To open the week on Monday, it was lower, and quite a bit lower, especially on feeder cattle there. But we enjoyed some big gains last week. Nobody seemed to pay too much attention to it, even on heavier receipts in your auction markets. But it was indeed lower. February live cattle futures were down 82 cents at 179.72, which is still a couple bucks better than what our latest market was established at. But April down 140 at 182.35, and that's a pretty big premium to what our latest established market was. But your back months were down $1.02 to $1.30 lower. March feeder cattle down 205 at 242.75. April down $1.95 at 248.25, and your back months down 160 to down 195. Let's talk about your grain markets. March corn was unchanged at 442 3/4. March beans up 7 3/4 cents at 11.96 1/4, and Kansas City hard red winter wheat for March was down 11 cents a bushel at 6.14. Let's talk about your weighted average on last week's negotiated fed cattle movement in your 5-area feeding region. They sold 57,700 head, which is less than the previous week of 69,700, but more than the same week a year ago of 49,300. Your live prices on fat steers and heifers last week, this is a total roundup, guys. They range from 173 to 179. That's steady to a buck higher, but your weighted average on live steers was $2.35 higher than the previous week at 177.97. Now your dress market, fat steers and heifers ranged from 275 to 280.75, which was $1 to $2 higher. We did have 118 head that sold at 288 that come in there, kind of stretching that price spread out a little bit, but the way I give it to you is the way you should read it. But your weighted average on dress steers was $2.66 higher than the previous week's steer dressed weighted average at $279.53. Very impressive. As a whole, your Southern Plains market was $3 to $4 higher, from 178 to 179. Northern Plains live market was $1 to almost $5 higher, from 176 to 179, and $3 higher dressed at 280 for the most part. Nationwide, we sold 69,900 negotiated all over the country, down from the 83,400 from the same just a week ago, and more than the 64,500 from the same week a year ago. Of the 69,900, only 10% were sold for the 15 to 30 day delivery, so they're pretty hand to mouth. Some of these analysts think that their market's going to get pressure because these packers are dipping into some red ink, but they've got orders to fill, guys. I think the market's going to be steady to a buck or two higher this week. We'll see. We have no idea as of yet. But negotiated grid price 38,000 sold last week. Forward contracts for 55,800 last week, and formula sales totaled up to 269,600 head, based off the little dribble of less than 70,000 head. Tail wagging the dog, guys. But of your negotiated trade in the 4 of the 5 area that we get information from, Iowa sold 19,600, Nebraska sold 18,600, Kansas sold 14,400, a lot more than what we've been seeing out of Kansas, and Texas just 5,100 negotiated. Box beef cutout values were up slightly to start the week, with choice boxes up 40 cents at 293.48. Selects were up 30 cents at 283.77. Talk about what else is going on. Night Latch Group, that's Andy and Codell Cunningham there, guys. They want you to get a hold of them so they can tell you about this LGM the livestock gross margin policies, which are not quite as popular or not nearly as popular as the LRPs, but they'll show you how you can hold your cattle price up and hold your corn price down at the same time as you manage your risk with Nightlatch. For more information, go to nightlatch.net. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DVAuction. Late in the day on Monday, sitting at 239.96, gaining another 37 cents through the big high volume of Monday with a lot of commodity cattle sales in there. So it was a good market. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index, 239.48. So by the time it catches up, it's going to be right on that. I mean, they're basically the same number. I thought it was interesting. If you look at the steer tracker, which we also run on DVAuction there, that is your last 25 groups of index steers. The steer tracker was 250.73. Remember that 239.96 real-time index is a 7-day moving average. So we've got higher prices on this end of them, guys. But let's talk about your big sales on Monday. Of course, the biggest come from the biggest stockyard, Joplin Regional Stockyard in Carthage, Missouri, right on I-44, guys. They had 15,700 head, as I mentioned earlier, plus another 600 or 700 through their in-house video. The government federal state market reporter called the steers steady to $4 lower. Of course, the market was 7 to 22 higher last week. Your heifers were steady to $5 higher. Now look at these big tests in many weight groups there. This is the market in the lower Midwest, guys. Check it out on this automated market report through Cattle Market Central. You see 1,491 head of 5-weight steer calves. They average 549 with a weighted average price of $287.19. 2,387 head of 6-weight steers through Joplin Regional Stockyards had an average weight of 646, weighted average price $260.16. 2,092 head of 7-weight steers averaged 751 at $240.31, and 1,355 head of 8 weights in Joplin had an average weight of 851 pounds and a weighted average price of $228.16. Look at your heifers. Right at 1,000 head of 4-weight heifers, averaged 459 pounds, weighted average price $264.31. 1,826 head of 5-weight heifers averaged 547 at $253.31. 1,857 head of 6 weights averaged 652 at $235.33, and 1,216 head of 7-weight heifers in Joplin Regional Stockyards on Monday had a weighted average weight of 746, weighted average price of $223.47. Very impressive on a big slug of cattle right there, guys. Another big run at the Oklahoma National Stockyards in Oklahoma City. 12,500 head for them. Their steers were studded to $4 higher on all weights and groups. Feeder heifers were 5 to 10 higher. Heifer calves $1 to $5 higher. Good sale there at Oklahoma City, the Oklahoma National Stockyards. But our NationalBeefWire stick-out sale of the day, kind of a premium sale up in the Northern Plains. Faith Livestock Auction in Faith, South Dakota, sold 6,000 head of cattle. Check out these prices here. These all seem like stick-out prices on each weight group, but check out your best tested weights. 543 head of 5-weight heifers in Faith, South Dakota, average 563 at $313.16. 796 head of 6-weight heifers, average 648 at $283.94. And 844 head of 7-weight heifers, average 731 pounds, weighted average price $260.66. Now look at your heifers. 907 head of 5-weight heifers, average 569 at $288.43. 1,778 head of 6-weight heifers. They're not keeping them, guys. They might have planned on keeping them, but now they're selling them. Nearly 1,800 head of 6-weight heifers in Faith, South Dakota had a weighted average weight of 647, weighted average price of $268.41. 465 out of 7 weight heifers average 720 at $247.27. Couple individual quotes for you. How about Callaway Livestock Center, Kingdom City, Missouri? This is central Missouri, guys, on heifers. 91 head of feeding heifers weigh 598 or right at 600 pounds for $269.75. Go up into Iowa. Russell Livestock Market in Russell, Iowa sells 70 steers, weighed 802, bring 254. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Monday come from a market that's not even broadcasted anywhere, but it's your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day. Western Oklahoma Livestock Auction near Clinton, Oklahoma, sold 66 steer calves from Clarendon, Texas. They weighed 501 and bring 360. That's your feeder flash for Tuesday.